Hello, Bond fans. Yes, hello everyone in the Bond community. This is the Shark who's fond of Bond. And it's been a while, hasn't it? But anyway, I'm going to be making this Bond channel's first Bond ranking video. And I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favourite Bond fistfights. The Bond fistfights I'm going to be talking about in this video are going to be against two people, Bond included of course. But without any further ado, let's get into the Bond ranking video, shall we? Alright, I'm going to start with the dishonourable mention first, and that one will go to the fight between Bond and Gustav Graves in Die Another Day. An extremely lackluster fight scene, an extremely lackluster Bond film. There's just not much to it at all, really. There is a slight bit of excitement, but you get that with all the fist fights in the Bond series, really. And I really hate that slow motion shot that they used. And the less said about that CGI electric shock and its sound, the better. The fight scene is also very much overshadowed by another fight scene going on between the main Bond girl and the Bond girl villain, which is actually a rather decent fight scene, surprisingly. Now for our honourable mention, which will go to the fight in Moonraker between Bond and the Bond villain henchman. My goodness, those poor museum workers. Great practical designs, and it's just fine, really. As in, it's not quite good enough to make it into my top 10, but it does come surprisingly close. Coming in at number 10 will be the technical fist fight with Bond against Kananga in Live and Let Die. Sure, the scene isn't all that long, but the choreography is actually rather decent, and it's a very memorable Bond scene in a very memorable Bond film. Coming in at number 9 will be the fist fight between Bond and Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me. Yes, in this fight scene, Jaws really does give Bond a run for his money.
Every penny of it.
My main reason for putting this fight scene at number 9 is probably because it's a fight between Jaws and Bond. But come on, who doesn't want a fight between Jaws and Bond? Coming in at number 8 is going to be a fight between Bond and a particularly strong Blofeld henchman, or so, in You Only Live Twice. My goodness, I just love this fight scene. Choreography, the design, the soundtrack, the filming, the set. It just all blends in to make an amazing fight, really. And it probably would have ended up higher on my list if it was more memorable. Coming in at number 7 is going to be the train fight between a villain and Bond in Skyfall. Yes, while there were rather a few Craig Bond fistfight scenes, none of them stood out as much as the top of the train fight scene in Skyfall. Octopussy had the amazing train-based action sequence, while Skyfall had the amazing top of the train fight sequence. Coming out as a top 5 honourable mention, coming out at number 6, will be the plane fight between Bond and a particular villain in Moonraker. This fight scene in the Bond film Moonraker is the definition of simple yet satisfying, and those slap sound effects they use give me joy every time. And for heck's sake, it leads up to one of the best stunts in movie history. Starting off our top 5, the number 5 spot is the fight between Bond and Max Zorin in A View to a Kill. This Bond fight scene right here explains and answers why you should never bring an axe to a fistfight. The practical design, the actors' performance with their bodies, and the scene in general is just so amazingly done. A very well earned 5th place top 5 spot in my opinion. Coming out as a top 3 honourable mention and a 4th place spot, we'll go to the fist fight between Bond and Dr. No in, well, Dr. No. This was the very first Bond film, and this fight scene is very beyond its time in my opinion. The soundtrack is still in its time, but that's in no way, shape or form a negative. And I don't think too many people disagree with what I've mentioned here. It's just simply an amazing scene, a great Bond film. Starting off our top 3 with our 3rd place spot, we'll go to the train fight scene, inside the train this time, in From Russia with Love, with Bond against Red Grant. So you know how I said the Dr. No fist fight scene was beyond its time? Well, I think that the fist fight scene from Russia with Love is beyond its time, very much the same, except to a much higher degree, honestly. I'm not sure if audiences had even seen a fight scene like that around that time. And these two characters are both matched in their strength and fighting techniques, making it a very raw and violent fight scene. Heck, some people might even say I put this too low, but that really goes to show how simply amazing this fight scene is. Now, my 2nd place spot may surprise you a bit, but I genuinely think this is a really amazing fight scene. Well, fist fight scene, to be exact. The one between Bond and Franks in Diamonds Are Forever. I've heard that Diamonds Are Forever is a more accessible Bond film for those younger people watching, which makes this fistfight scene even the more surprisingly brutal. I really love all the punching and breaking sounds throughout the scene. The whole atmosphere really is just really well executed. Such a great scene in a guilty pleasure Bond film for me. Now, my favourite Bond fistfight of all time, and actually one of my favourite movie fistfight scenes of all time really, goes to the fight between 007 Bond and 006 Trevelyan in GoldenEye. Like in the From Russia with Love train battle, he's fighting against someone who matches him in strength and fighting techniques. Except this time it's not a Spectre agent, but in fact another 00 agent, which makes it all the more intriguing, which makes it the best fistfight scene in Bond history, and one of my favourites in movie history really. So that ends my ranking video, and my video really, and sorry for the wait everyone. Yes, I was very busy this month, or 2 months maybe, but yes, I'll see you around in the next video, which very hopefully, I even hope, will come out soon enough. Yes, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video from the shark who's fond of Bond.